Speaking of that, Andrew, we haven't talked about extradition yet. Let's do some extradition. Why don't you lay out why everyone's talking about extradition in the last 48 hours, and feel free to dangle your toes in the waters of why I find it so funny.
So this is unironically, like, perhaps it's basically the funniest thing about this whole news cycle, because it is, of course, already getting filtered into like how it's affecting the primary. We've been talking about all that, but it's also getting factored into this online fight between Trump people and DeSantis people that has been going on for a lot longer than DeSantis himself has been going after Trump, right? I mean, like you have these kind of influencers in right-wing media lining up on both sides to kind of be like, Trump's the only true guy for us. No, it's DeSantis, whatever. But so when news of this potential indictment breaks, obviously a huge spotlight swivels over to DeSantis to see what he's going to say about the whole thing. And one thing that a lot of pro-Trump thinkfluencers started saying right away was, what we really need to see from Ron, and what would really be kind of the only like truly rock-ribbed and brave thing for him to say would be, I will not extradite, as the governor of Florida, where Donald Trump lives, I will not extradite him to New York for processing if he's indicted, because the indictment is unjust for all the reasons we've talked about, and for a lot of other more colorful, theatrical, and or fake reasons that are flying around kind of the Trump sphere. So it's crazy because Ron DeSantis isn't in charge of that. I mean, like the laws in question are pretty unambiguous. If you're indicted in a different state, there's not kind of some discretionary role for the governor of Florida to step in and basically say, unless there are like straight up kind of logical or like kind of clerical problems. It's like, oh, you're telling me we got to hand this guy over, but it's some other guy on this warrant, like some other name is here. This isn't the person you're talking about. Like Ron DeSantis could come in and be like, actually, no, this was some other Donald Trump. But there's nothing discretionary here. And DeSantis himself essentially, I mean, he didn't get into the weeds of that, but he basically said, I have nothing to do with that yesterday. And you know, I'm not dealing with that. I'm dealing with, you know, all the stuff that's going on in my legislative session. And obviously, of course, like that's becoming a thing that a lot of Trump supporters online are hitting him over, that you know, he's already failed the test, and we don't even have the indictment yet. So it's like it's this very kind of weird little sideshow thing, but it just kind of shows that this fight has already been ginned up, and we're going to see so many different kinds of examples of this, just like these weird little crevices that like from the outside are just like bizarre, like the idea that DeSantis would be taking political flack for that is kind of crazy, except in this moral kind of universe where it's like Trump versus DeSantis and it's zero sum, and that's the story of this nomination fight until somebody else makes some kind of real surge.
We're going to talk about this plenty on the next advisory opinions. I'll just read from Article 4, Section 2, Clause 2. A person charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crime who shall flee from justice, that just means not be in the state. It does not actually mean you needed to abscond, and be found in another state, shall, on demand of the executive authority of the state from which he fled, be delivered up to be removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime. That's a shall word. So also, unlike some of these other questions, we have plenty of Supreme Court authority on this. Some of it's not recent, I will grant you. But for instance, the best ministerial case for Ron DeSantis would be the statute of limitations ran. Guess what? Bittinger versus Commissioner of Police, 1917. Supreme Court already said that's a no-go. The governor of the state that has the person cannot question the statute of limitations, even if it is obviously expired, and deny that as a reason to extradite the person back to the state. David, this could not be more like what they were asking Pence to do on January 6th. It is a ministerial role that people have just decided you should ignore the law and do what we want because it would be better for us in this very specific case despite the fact of everyone telling them, yes, but in all the other cases, this will run against you. So for instance, you want to be the party that's against crime, but you also want blue states to be able to refuse to turn over criminals to red states for pretty much any reason that they want. Cool plan.